right, welcome everyone to episode 2 of Invictus Pro Wrestling's Power Hour. Alex Aceta here. Joining me as always is Nick Galp. You know what? I'm not going to point because the orientation was wrong last time and I was pointing, I think it flipped. So Nick Outman joining
What's
me
up, everyone?
alongside Ryan Gross and
Hello.
our special guest for the evening, none other than Invictus Pro Wrestling's resident barber himself, Mr. Clipper Jones.
How we doing, y'all?
We're
That
doing
was a great entrance.
I could be doing better. I'm sure by this point the public will be aware that I have the coronavirus. Ms. Rona got me. Hence why I'm not drinking alcohol tonight. I'm drinking some nice herbal tea, some green tea to flush the nastiness out of my system.
Very nice. Well, at the end of the day, this is kind of a good thing that we all got this little extra time because I can speak on my own behalf. I've been swamped with finals and grad school work. So, this has been, I'm sure, the holidays are always a stressful time for everyone, I feel like.
Same. And Nick, I see you're drinking though. You got the red Solo cup, rocking it a Street Profit style, which is
Absolutely. I want all the smoke. But also rocking that Dennis Morgan tee, shout out.
I noticed it. Was our guest last week, of course. So anyway, Clip, we got some questions for you, buddy. So we'll kind of do it the same way that we did last week. We'll start off with our own questions, and then we'll move into the questions that we've been receiving from social media from fans. So to start off, I'm going to ask you. This is probably just going to be our first question for every guest that we have. But how did you first get into wrestling? Where did it all begin?
So it all began, believe it or not, at age 4, back with my cousins. Cousins were big WCW fans. They had all the toys, the gold. They had the big Goldberg plush doll. They had the NWO action figures. So I was always dabbling in pro wrestling from a very young age. So when I went into elementary school, me and my best friend, we had this handshake that was like a secret code, like to show that we were best friends. Where we would give it was like high five, you can't see me. So it was like really cheesy, but yeah, that's what like going upwards. I was always dabbling in pro wrestling. From high school, they asked me what did I wanted to be. I said I wanted to be a pro wrestler, and they just laughed because they thought I was joking. Um, Jokes on them now because it's I'm doing it, man. I'm doing it. So
That's probably one of the most wholesome, like how we got into wrestling stories that I've heard.
Here's my question, though. Where's the friend in that whole scenario? Is he still doing wrestling, or is he a secret, tag partner waiting in the wings, maybe?
I wish, man. I haven't actually talked to him. I haven't talked to him in about a decade. So
Damn.
yeah, I don't know what's going on, but Clipper Jones is keeping the dream going.
Hell yeah, man.
So that's a pretty good segue to our next question, which is so what actually made you decide to take that plunge and actually pursue becoming a pro wrestler? Or like, how did you, I guess the better way to phrase it would be like, how did you get into like training to become a wrestler?
So that's a good, I'm glad you brought that up. So, in my freshman year of college, I was going to Northeast wrestling shows with another buddy of mine who got me into indie wrestling. I was watching like indie wrestling, Ring of Honor, Combat Zone Wrestling, and what have you, but I had never been to an actual indie show. So he brought me to a Northeast wrestling pay-per-view down in Waterbury, Connecticut. I went to that show and I met Christian at a meet and greet, and Christian asked like, they talk to the fans. They ask him a little question, hey, how you doing? What's going on? So I just took a shot in the dark and asked him like, how could I get into this? Like, I just want to know, like, just for speaking. He said, have you tried looking for any schools? And I'm like, yeah, I've been Googling here and there, but that's just like, just to see like what I have around. He said, I think Bubba Ray Dudley has a school around here somewhere. So They're right in Danbury. You should Google it. So I Googled it. Boom, it was right there. Send them an email, and rest is history.
Wow,
That's
that
awesome.
is. I was about to say. I mean, with something like that, was there? I mean, especially with a guy like Christian, was he someone who would you say you looked up to in the industry?
Definitely. He does everything that I like to do in the ring. He's the same height. We're the same height. We're both 6'2", 6'3". Got the same build. I'm not as built as Christian yet, but I felt like he did enough in the industry that inspired me to want to get into the sport. So that's why I asked him
Oh yeah, absolutely.
out of anybody else there.
It's funny. That picture came up like on your like time hop or whatever a couple
Mhm.
weeks ago, right? Yeah, I saw the
Yeah.
picture. I was gonna say like you said you're about the same height, but you were rocking the afro back then, so that gave you a couple inches on it, right?
Yeah, maybe about 6'5".
Yeah, that's funny. It's interesting too because I'm actually thinking, and whenever we have him on the show, we'll talk about this. But Gio actually his story was very similar. We went to a Northeast wrestling show, Wrestling Under the Stars, and he went and talked to Donovan Dijak, who's now known as Mace in Retribution. And he asked him the same thing, like how do I get into this? And he gave him recommendation of some schools in the Northeast, New York, Connecticut area, and he steered him towards Team 3D. So interesting how like almost everyone I feel like got into it through Northeast wrestling, which is interesting, like parallels. But it's no surprise, I mean, with how prevalent they are around this region here on the indie scene. Cool. So my next question, let's talk dream opponents. So all time and current, who would you like to face?
So all time would definitely have to be Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, without a question. No, just the battle of showmanship. I just would definitely want to see The Rock versus the Clippers. See if I could clip The Rock. But for current wrestler, it would definitely have to be Kenny Omega.
It's an excellent choice.
Definitely,
They call him the
Kenny
best out
Omega.
machine for a reason.
Literally night and day for me. Like he's big anime fan, big Street Fighter fan. It's just like preaching to the choir right here.
Yeah,
Big nerd. Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. Going back to, I'm curious about The Rock though. So which incarnation of The Rock would you want to face? Are we talking like Rocky Maivia? Are we talking like Nation of Domination Rock? Are we talking like post, like when he came back for that like once in a lifetime thing with versus Cena? Like which Rock?
Incarnation.
Yeah.
Or Tooth
Definitely.
Fairy Rock
Yo,
from the Disney movie back in the day.
Jumanji.
Oh no.
There you go.
It would definitely have to be 2003 Hollywood Rock from returning. That's the Rock I see myself going against.
He'd be more likely to put you over, I think. That was when, like, at the end of his first WWE run, that's when he was like putting all the young guys over.
Yeah,
because he was on his way out.
Very gracious.
Yeah. Okay, so you were you mentioned before, that Kenny Omega and you share a lot of interests, in terms of like nerd culture and video games and anime and things like that. So that's a pretty good segue. Nick and Ryan, if you want to go refresh your beverages, because Clip and I got to weeb out for a little bit. We're gonna talk through that anime shit. So,
oh boy,
Clipper Jones, I gotta ask, and this is a very important question: what is your favorite anime?
My favorite anime, without a shadow of a doubt, it's gonna sound very casual and cringe, even though I watch a lot more anime. But what got me into anime is definitely Dragon Ball Z.
No, I respect that answer without a doubt.
I can honestly say that's probably one of the very few animes I've actually seen as a kid growing up. I think it was on Cartoon Network a lot, or Adult Swim, something like that. But Dragon Ball Z is, I feel like it's the popular choice, but it's a good answer.
Yeah.
But for what it's worth,
a lot of people.
For what
No,
it's
just
worth, I
go
mean,
on.
the video Dragon's Ball P on YouTube, it's like a whole
Oh,
spoof
yeah.
series of Dragon Ball Z. I've seen that. Does that count? I
I
saw that.
You monster frisbee.
Dude,
Oh, yeah.
me and my friends, whenever we FaceTime each other, we always like try to replicate the faces from that video
Oh, yeah.
into like the FaceTime camera.
Oh, my God.
I'll just
That
like
was by
it'll be ringing and like my friend will pick it up and I'll be like, Virginia. And wait, let's just real quick. I just want to show the folks at home just how like disgusting these faces are that we're talking about. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Wait. Dragon. Yeah, these. I'm sharing my screen. Like, look at these.
Oh, my God. Oh, God.
And then it's like not even that, but also the sound effects that accompanied it. They're just like, eh.
So that's all I know about Dragon Ball Z. All I know about Dragon Ball Z is from Dragon's Ball P. Is it like similar?
Yeah.
Completely off?
Sure.
Yeah, oddly, yes. Oddly,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, that's all that matters.
So for me, the anime question is like a loaded question because I have a hard time comparing like the really long running anime like the Dragon Ball Z and like One Piece,
Yeah.
Naruto and things like that, like to like the limited series, anime that are like 12 or 26 episodes.
Right.
So for me personally, if I had to choose my favorite like long running anime, I would have to go with One Piece. Very close second would be Dragon Ball Z.
Very understandable.
But for my favorite like limited anime where it was just like, a X amount of episodes and that was it, I would have to go with either Death Note, because you never forget your first. That was like freshman year of college. That was all I was watching. Like come back after class, and that was like I'd watch an episode or two or five. Or Evangelion is also up there. Yeah, just because I love all the like symbolism and weird shit, and yeah,
Cool.
great. Okay, so my follow-up question to that, which is related, is if you could face any anime character in a wrestling match, who would it be and why?
It would definitely be Kinnikuman Nisei, who's also known as Kid Muscle, just for the fact that he's taking on forms of the NWO in space, and you can't beat that.
Love it. So did Ryan or Nick, did you guys ever watch or hear of Ultimate Muscle?
I
No.
understood very little to none of what you just said, so
Okay,
I'm gonna go with no.
The only other anime besides Dragon Ball Z that I've probably ever actually watched a little bit of, not a lot. So One Punch Man, which I thought was actually kind of funny.
One Punch Man is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I feel like One Punch Man is pretty like accessible for.
I mean, I just somebody explained it to me. His routine on how he became so strong, and I was like, all right, that sounds like something I could actually sit down and watch. 50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups a day, and he would run like 2 miles or something like that.
Yeah, because
it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's the antithesis of like, something like Dragon Ball Z, where Goku just like keeps getting stronger, indefinitely, like, and he always has to like rise to the challenge. Like Saitama from One Punch Man is just so OP that he's just bored, and he just is able to. Nick, the premise of the show, the reason why he's called One Punch Man is because he defeats every villain with one punch, and he just gets
yeah,
and he just gets bored of being a superhero.
It's probably a lot better than it sounds. It's actually kind of funny.
Definitely.
The only anime that I've seen, and this is probably like the softest form of anime, is like Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I mean, if that's even considered anime, like it's like basically, it's like one of those Americanized anime, in my opinion. It's like.
Isn't Pokemon technically considered anime also?
Yeah.
I mean, you
are those like gray areas?
Yeah.
Those are 100% anime.
Yeah, I started as an anime.
Yeah.
All right, so if Pokemon counts, then I've definitely seen Pokemon too, but probably not much more.
Are the club then, guys?
Going back to Kinnikuman, or Ultimate Muscle, is what it's called in English, it's a wrestling anime. It's an anime about pro wrestling, like, but it really
Oh.
over the top, like crazy sci-fi. And the main character, his finishing move, I believe, is what then became the Muscle Buster.
Yep.
So the
Oh.
Muscle Buster was actually, or no, technically, so the Muscle Buster and the Kinniku Buster are different moves. So the Muscle Buster is, you know, how Samoa Joe used to do it. He would have the guy like folded up, and then he would fall backwards like a suplex. The Kinniku Buster, Kinniku Driver, is that same setup, but instead of falling backwards, you sit out with it.
Yeah.
And it's like a super dangerous move. But there's a few crazy people in like Mexico and Japan that have done it IRL before. But anyway, fun fact, it comes from that show. It originated because the people who created that show wanted to create some wild move that couldn't be done in real life for the main character to use as his finisher. But of course, it's wrestling and it attracts crazy people. So of course somebody was going to go out and do it in real life. And the rest is history. So yeah, I would definitely recommend checking out Ultimate Muscle at some point. So speaking of matches, so I want to throw it back now, Clip, to September of this year at Eruption, which was our first show in Flemington, New Jersey. You faced Wrecking Ball Legursky in the opening match of that show. What was going through your head leading up to it, and what were your thoughts on that match?
First of all I gotta say is, I just gotta say, really, Alex, when I wanted the biggest person, I didn't want Wrecking Ball Legursky as the biggest person.
I told you, man.
You take things very literally.
Well, when I saw that big SOB come out, I had second thoughts, but once I heard the crowd and my juices were flowing, I was ready. I thought I was gonna win that match, to be honest with you.
Oh, well, that's what I was gonna say. Is like, you know, you're saying like you were freaking out, but that was a competitive match. That was not by any means a squash. Like, you really held your own in that match.
Yeah,
And a lot of people also, you know, don't realize that. I mean, I said on commentary that it was, you know, it was the debuting Clipper Jones, but I realized that might have gotten lost in translation. Like, you weren't just making your Invictus debut. I mean, it was our first show, so everyone was making their Invictus debut, but that was your first singles match.
That was my very first singles match. Yep.
Ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I got to say, I think you, well,
Now,
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you definitely exceeded, you know, our expectations. And I remember the locker room after you came back through the curtain, like nobody could believe that was your first ever singles.
Absolutely, man. I was just about to say, you were such a natural at it. I mean, if you don't mind me asking, you know, I know you'd been in a Rumble before that, correct?
Yes.
What was, you know, your experience like going into that compared to a singles contest?
It was actually more simple than the singles match, because all you're doing in the battle royale is you're just trying to get somebody out. So
I got you.
You're just looking for somebody to punch. With Wrecking Ball, I was trying not to get squashed, so I was doing more sticking and moving than in the battle royal.
Now, I was about to say also, Alex, you bring up a very interesting point. I mean, not only was this, you know, as you said, Clipper's Invictus debut, but Clipper was a part of the very first ever Invictus match. The very first ever in the history of the promotion. That's a huge deal, man. And I just want to say, like, you know, if that doesn't get you on PWI 500 next year, don't know it will.
Feels good. Very good.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, because really there was just so many like different layers of like pressure. Like, there's the pressure of it being your first singles match, and also the pressure of it being the very first Invictus match. But yeah, I remember I watched that from out in the crowd, and because I had been, I mean, Nick and Ryan, you saw me, I had been freaking out that entire day, trying to make everything right, and the day before. But from the moment you guys, like, you guys took the first bump in that match, I was like, I just breathed a sigh of relief because I was like, all right, like this is gonna be good. Like,
Oh yeah, because I mean, really, what you did was you set a precedent for everything to follow. I mean, if that first match sucked, you know, that would have set a bad precedent for us. So I mean, when Nick told me that was your debut match, I was really impressed. I thought you've been doing it for a while. So I mean, congratulations on your debut in Invictus, and congratulations on a great match. You know.
No, that's an awesome point, Ryan. And also, I just got to ask on a side note, how did those haystacks feel as you were on top of Wrecking Ball Legursky, literally just being thrown onto them into nothingness?
Very, very glad you asked. I actually still have a scar right here on my chest
Oh, shit.
that has not healed yet, and it's December.
I have one too, actually.
Oh, boy.
From kneeling down like that. Hey, I went back and watched the match with commentary, and I realized like how dumb we sounded, Nick, when we said like that hay is really prickly. But like, listen, to anyone who's sitting at home, like you don't understand what like stiff, dry hay feels like. Like
This was a farm. This was not like a staged farm. This was
I'm not.
This is a farm
by any means. So I did not know like what, but I was kneeling down to like fix something, with the generator or something, and like I got one like right into my knee, and it still hasn't healed. It's like still this like gross little like pinpoint like bruise thing.
Just to put it in perspective for fans, beyond the actual attendees of the event, we also had cows and horses watching our show, and paintballers like 100 yards in the other direction who were too distracted by our show to do their game. So we had a whole mess of shenanigans that led to that first event. And, beyond the, cow shit and all the, ticks everywhere, I mean, we still got the job done. And as everyone was saying, Clip, you did a kick-ass job in your debut match, man. You really did. And, that's a part of, what, Ryan was saying, like you set the standard for the show.
And so going off of that, or sorry, Clip, I don't want to, you can respond to that.
So another thing I did in that match that I've never done before was a crossbody. That was the first time I've ever hit a crossbody from the top rope on the record ball. Once I was in there, once I got hit with that hay, my entire mindset changed. It was like, all right, it's go time now. It just
kind of wakes you up a little bit,
Yeah, it did. Put a little pep in my step. So yeah.
No, I totally feel that.
So actually, what I was going to say is maybe it's a little good that we got a little delayed in recording this, because now, Clip, we can talk about this social media tournament, which, you were confirmed to be an entrant in yesterday. What are your thoughts on that?
Alex, I'm really big in social media. I have an Instagram, I have a Twitter, I have a YouTube, I have everything that I need to get this championship. I also have a hot streak because after November Rain, me and my boy Gio won the tag team match against Mucho Chris Mojo and Randy Shawn. So I feel like we have an edge in this tournament. And that's if Gio is even in the tournament to begin with.
It's true, yeah. Only so far, only yourself, Nick Stapp, and as of today, MCM have been confirmed for that tournament. But got to follow our socials to see the rest of those entrants as they're revealed. Best of luck, buddy. I know that it's going to be a great tournament, and I can't wait to watch it air. So let's, without further ado, then that's all the questions that I've got. We want to turn it over to the fan questions.
Oh, absolutely. So do you want me just to cover my Instagram first before you can do the Facebook side of things?
Yeah, let's do it.
So Dennis Morgan asked, and I need you to translate this because I'm sure this is an anime reference and I don't understand it. WAHL or Babyless?
WA
from Not D Morgan. Wanted to give credit. I don't know what. First of all, can you explain what that means?
So the first one, I believe he's referring to My Hero Academia, if that's not correct. The second one,
WAHL. Your
but
guess is
the,
as
L-
good
but
as
the L
mine, my
just
guy.
has me lost in translation. So is it MAHL or MH?
WAHL.
WH. Oh, it's a rib. It's a rib. Dennis. He's talking about
thank
Clippers.
God.
He's talking about Clippers.
Oh my God. I was about to say, I was like, I have no idea what this means. I
Yeah.
hope this makes sense
Wow.
when it's delivered, but there we go.
It's gonna be Wall
Um,
any day of the week.
So, fun fact for those at home who don't know, Clipper, before he was a wrestler, was actually a referee for House of Hardcore matches, right?
Yep.
So, Vincenzo Galvano asks Gio's, one of his Italian brethrens, favorite match in which you were the referee?
It would definitely have to be the main event of our last show at the which convention? It was at a convention
Eastbound?
center in downtown Philly, and it was the main event of the last night of Sunday night, where it was Tommy Dreamer and Gio Galvano versus against Chris Mojo and Randy Shawn, with Scott Gordon Patterson from Gilmore Girls as Tommy Dreamer's manager.
Alex, I hope you're taking notes because we need to book that match immediately.
Yo, I wasn't there for that one. I came. I think I was there. I was there one of the other days of the convention, but Gio showed me the footage of that.
That sounds like a kick-ass match.
That was wild. Yeah, the heartthrob from Gilmore Girls, just coming in with the steel chair, and making the save. That is
Moving right along. Oh, Jesus Christ. Mucho Chris Mojo
Oh God.
asks, have you found a chair to cut hair in the storage unit yet?
Yes, and it's not purple.
I think I know what he can do with that purple chair. Moving right along. Dev Vendez 2000 asks, want to do a wrestling match? And before you answer that question, I want to give some background on this guy. He has no experience in wrestling whatsoever, and he was born for greatness. So, at least according to his Instagram bio. So, does that help at all? Answer your question.
On if I want to face him or not, the answer is going to be yes, but I still don't know.
There we go. Okay. Moving right along. I know we had a couple more. Oh, yes. Jordan JD asks, when are you and MCM having a hair versus hair match?
A bite of the buns. Wow.
I would pay good money to see that.
Most likely sometime next year, after we get a little bit more W's under my belt. I don't know about him, but yeah, definitely.
Well, this is another good one. Kazarian52 asks, not Kazarian from AEW, different Kazarian. If you could tag with anyone alive or dead, who would it be? Besides Gio, doesn't count.
Besides Gio, definitely not D Morgan. That's my boy right there.
That would honestly be a really cool combination of you know what I mean? Fast intensity and you know what I mean? Some bruiser added in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Solid. And honestly, on a personal question, I really want to know this. As a barber, what is the best tip and the worst tip you've ever received in your craft?
So the best tip was when me and my buddies, because I got two barbers next to me. I got the head barber Will, and then the other one Windsor. The best one was, I finished cutting the guy's hair. It's a kid. He's about 10 years old, because I'm cutting about all the kids in the local area, Hartford, Connecticut. Mother comes up and she goes, "Oh, maybe somebody will actually take him to the homecoming now, because he had he had like an afro, right? Yeah, he had an afro just like me, like back in high school. But he
Did
wanted.
you get him like the fresh cut?
Yeah, sometimes they just come in and they just say get rid of it because they're young and it'll go back eventually. But
Yeah.
yeah, the worst tip is always the same thing, because when people want to have a major change, they sometimes don't like it. So once
I was about to say, like I feel like especially with hair, like people go in there with these wacko crazy ideas sometimes and are dissatisfied with the result. I'm like, listen, maybe you shouldn't go like baby blue with your hair and dislike the outcome. You know what I'm saying? Like I know, like especially as a barber, like it's tough to like satisfy the customer, which was my curiosity in that.
They want to look like somebody from a video game, and you just can't satisfy them. So you just gotta just take the money and just call it a day.
Yeah. Honestly, make sure everyone out there to support your local businesses. Anyone who's cutting your hair, mani-pedis, waxing, any of the above, just support them, help them during this hard time. If you are in what area of Connecticut?
Hartford, Connecticut.
Hartford, Connecticut. Look up this man.
Is that it for the IG questions, Nick? Or
that is.
All right, cool. Because I got a couple questions from our other social media platforms now. So on Facebook, Philly Trollman, our sentient Philly cheesesteak follower, asked, "Are you looking for a rematch with Wrecking Ball Legursky?"
Excuse my French, but hell yeah.
You heard it here first, Philly. Jones versus Legursky, round dose. I'd book that. Here's a good question from our boy Joey G. Joe Grimont asked, if you could add a submission move to your arsenal, what would it be?
Would definitely have to go with the Dragon Sleeper. I've always been a big fan of seeing it in pure wrestling. I would definitely love to add it to my repertoire.
100%. It's a really it's a versatile move too, in that you could lock it on from like a variety of positions. You could reverse like a suplex that way or something like that. I was always a big fan of the Dragon Sleeper too. Moving over to Twitter now, Billy on Twitter, he's got a two-part question here. First one is, how would Clipper Jones deal with CM Punk in a match?
Oh, that's a tough one. Definitely not gonna beat him in the mic game field. So I'm just gonna have to go to the brawler style, stick and move. I'd shave his head, but he's already shaved his head before, so it wouldn't do much to him. But it would definitely be an added reward, like after I hit him with the 1, 2, 3.
You could also face him in the octagon. He's got a rivet.
That would be easier actually. Yeah.
I was just about to say, you really just kind of have to learn how to box, and then you can very easily take care of that, no problem. Yeah. If you want, I can even train you. You can be ready in 8 to 12 weeks.
Call it a day.
Let's do it. Hashtag CM Punk fears Clipper.
Oof. Get that trending.
I'm stirring that pot. So the second part of Billy's question, it's not really a question. He's just sort of a comment, I guess, is also, I'm assuming you're an Atlanta Braves fan because your name reminds me of Chipper Jones from the Atlanta Braves.
That's
Winky Dink, or
that's the second time I've heard that. Actually, my very first show at Lucky Pro Wrestling for the Battle Royal, the commentator thought my name was Chipper Jones. He had my name written out on the card as Chipper Jones, because apparently Chipper Jones is a very well-known baseball player. I don't really watch baseball, but what people were telling me was like, yeah, we thought Chipper Jones was about to be in the Battle Royal, and we were marking out.
If only. No, he retired in 2012 though. I went and looked it up. So
I remember seeing that on TKO Kasenko's vlog or whatever. So shout out to him, honestly. He's given you the Invictus and honestly like the exclusives for all of our up and coming guys. So sorry, that's my cat in the background. Keep that in mind. I'm gonna go back on mute now.
Dude, go feed that thing.
My girlfriend just left the room. That's why he's meowing. It's all the time. P.S. Before we continue, Ryan, I saw your cat beautiful looking cat. We got to have an Invictus Pets segment at some point. I'm gonna go back to mute now.
I got 2 of them. That was so you just let me know. They love to be on camera, photograph, whatever.
So moving right along here. So that concludes our fan submitted questions. But I don't know if you guys probably saw this, but earlier this week I posted on the Invictus Facebook page to ask our fans to submit their favorite taunts in honor of you, Clip, because you have an iconic taunt. You gave us a little taste of that at the beginning of the video. Yep, the Clips up, foes down. First of all, before we talk about our favorite taunts, where did that originate, or how did it originate?
So when I would come to the school, first of all, the name Clipper Jones, it's my name, it's my thing, but I was originally gonna go by the Clipper Jones after paying homage to one of my favorite TV shows, which recently came out, called Into the Badlands, where all the bounty hunters were called Clippers. So my original gimmick was gonna be, for every opponent I faced, I would give them I wouldn't put a tattoo on me like the regular Clippers of the show, but I would like cut a piece of the hair off or so. But as more class started progressing, my boy Gio would always say, here comes Clipper Jones, and he would go, pimps up, hoes down. But I said that's not gonna get over with the crowd, so I changed it up. I jazzed it up to what is now Clips up, foes down.
Got it. Man, I can't believe Gio suggested that. He's such a supposed to be.
I was just about to say that is the least likely person I would ever say to expect something to say something like that.
Oh my god.
It's good you went the more family-friendly route on that one.
We could actually put that on. So that's interesting. I didn't know that. So let's talk our favorite taunts. Why don't we all go through and talk about ours, and then we'll read some of the ones that got submitted in that thread on Facebook. Nick and Ryan, we were actually talking about this the other day.
Yes. I have a top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
go on, Nick.
Ryan, please go off, because please, Ryan, you know me and you know the comments I'm going to make about it, so please go.
Before you go, Ryan, so I actually wrote down your top 5 lists the other day.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm gonna cross-reference what you're gonna say now with the list.
Okay.
Let's see if it goes.
So number 5. All right. Now I know you guys put the top 3 up there, but so my number 5, I said Rick Rude / Val Venus with the gyration, the hands behind the hips and the thrusting. Number 4 was Gillberg, just because every time this man comes out, it just gets me every time. It's so ridiculous. So I love the Gillberg taunt. 3 was Goldust, because that Goldust is very iconic. I forgot who I said number 2 was. Did I say it was The Rock? The Stone Cold, right? The middle fingers. And then number 1, I said it was the Ric Flair strut.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are my top 5.
This man's got it down pat. There you go.
I thought a lot about that. Go on.
There you go. So to be honest, I have no idea what I had originally said. So I'm just, now that I have a little alcohol in my system, I feel like the answers are a little more truthful. Okay. So these are the real answers. Just saying. DX Suck It. I know, Ryan, because that's the one thing that I gave you crap on that wasn't in your top 5. I'm like, come on, man. Every 10-year-old at some point was doing the Suck It for like 6 months straight and driving their parents nuts.
And I was also one of those 10-year-olds too. I will say.
Yeah.
But it just didn't make my top 5.
I got you. Oh my God, the cat. I'm gonna make this real fast.
Dude, your cat.
Bruh.
A very underrated taunt.
Honestly, he's probably doing the most awesome promo right now towards me, calling me a jabroni, and I wouldn't even know it.
You're,
I'm gonna go with Kane because Kane's whole
Yeah.
fire thing at the beginning was awesome. Now I'm thinking about it, honestly, the Jeff Hardy. I don't know why I just did that. Now that's for the world to see.
finished, and then I got
That's got to be up there. I don't know if that's a taunt, but I'm counting it because it's like a signature move.
That's what I was
Um,
like, what actually constitutes a taunt, but
yeah.
continue.
God damn. I mean, if I'm really considering now, I got to give the Stone Cold thing as well because it's just iconic. And again, like I still do it whenever we're in the front of a ring. I still imagine myself getting in there and doing a beer bash and giving the fingers. So like, it's still there. God, in 5, I mean, I don't even know if this is like a taunt, but like when HBK would like play dead and then all of a sudden would just come back to life and spring up to his feet and just start wiling up the crowd kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
So
and start dialing it up.
for me, I think a taunt by definition has to be like either a catchphrase or a gesture, or in Clip's case, both, that is like specifically directed at the other person. That's why, like, I was gonna say like the
Oh, okay. So
like
in that
the
case,
party dance and like the Kane thing are cool and they're iconic, but I wouldn't necessarily call them taunts, because they're not
Okay, I
like
feel that.
specifically targeted at the opponent.
then excuse me, if we're going just by those standards, then I got to redo this. Okay. You got to throw in the SAW FT soft. You got to throw in the MJF I'm better than you and you know it.
Mhm.
DX got 2 words for you, suck it. Honestly, right now, as stupid as it is in some segments, I have to admit I'm really digging the facts are facts thing from Matt Hardy. Like, it's so pompous, it's so over the top, but it's like, and again, these are just on the spot answers. I'm sure if you ask me this question tomorrow, it'll be a different set of 5. But just in this moment, I'm feeling this kind of thing. And the 5th one, this isn't really, I mean, I don't know if this is a taunt, but again, this is a signature thing of like almost a disrespectful thing to an opponent of like, Undertaker rolling back the eyes and the,
I would consider that a
No,
taunt.
that's definitely
Yeah.
a taunt.
like
Yeah.
it's a signature and like the crowd pops, but like it's definitely an F you to the opponent.
Yeah, especially with the drawing
Yeah.
Yeah,
across the throat
Yeah.
part. That's clearly sending a
for
message.
sure. Again, apologies about the cat, but he's a needy fucker.
Dude, he's
Can I
getting
can I
right now.
I don't want to add this one, but one more that I actually really enjoyed as a kid was Dude Love, when he would do the dance with the you know what I'm talking about, where he would do that stupid little
Yeah.
dance.
Yeah.
I always got a kick out of Mick Foley and his taunts. Cactus Jack with the bang bang. I don't remember if Mankind had a taunt.
Yeah.
Maybe just where you pull hair out of his head or something.
Yeah.
He was crazy, but yeah. Just wanted to give that a shout out. I love Mick Foley. I think everybody who's a wrestling fan loves Mick Foley.
Yeah, of course. I didn't bother to go through and make like a top 3 or top 5 or whatever, but I do want to give some credit, and I mentioned this when we were talking about it the other day, to a very underappreciated taunt, which is and Clip, you weren't here for that, but you remember Rene Dupree?
Yes.
Okay, from
Oh,
La
the
Resistance.
balls.
He would do that little dance where he'd hop back and forth, and the tags would always pop for it, and he'd be like, "It's the French tickler." So I'm a real big fan of that one, just because it was so stupid. But what I was saying is, so Rene Dupree, actually, he still wrestles over in Japan for Pro Wrestling Noah, and I don't think he holds it anymore. But at one point within the last year, he was actually the tag team champion over there, I think. So he like randomly, and he's like unrecognizable now. He's jacked to the gills and he's like all tatted up, but like he just randomly broke that out in a match, like randomly. He just did the little like jig, and it was like this hard hitting like pro match, and the Japanese commentators like popped so hard for it. They were just like, "French tickler desu." It was so good. I was like, "Oh my god." I was like, never forget your roots, Mr. Dupree-san. I really enjoy that. But Clip, what about you? What's your favorite taunt or taunts?
So piggybacking off of you with Japanese wrestling, it may not. I don't want to take a shot in the dark and say this is my favorite taunt of all time, but I'm really digging the taunt for Kazuchika Okada in New Japan when he's about to do the Rainmaker clothesline. He where he spans his arms out and the camera goes all as far back as it can to signal that he's about to clothesline this guy's head off.
I've been talking to Brandon about doing that at one of our shows. I really want that to happen. But yeah, no, I respect that. Yeah, they're not really like, Japan is all about like honor, and like I feel like taunts are very rare there. I mean, you had the Bullet Club thing, obviously, but that's a good choice. I want to read some of the ones now from the thread that I posted, because we had some good suggestions in the comments. So initially when I posted it, I did it as a poll, and I only gave 3 choices, which was the John Cena "You Can't See Me," the DX "Suck It," and then the third one that I did was, I called it Scott Hall's weird oogity boogity boo thing. I don't know. It doesn't actually have a name, I don't think, but it's like, you know the one I'm talking about when he's like, and really the only reason that I posted it was because I wanted to get that joke in about Scott Hall. Because I know everyone at the Team 3D Academy loves Scott Hall.
Oh, yeah.
I know he's their collective favorite wrestler. That's a joke. I don't like Scott Hall. But it yielded some very good discourse in the comments. So Dom he liked the post, and I think that's a vote for Cena then, because I said like for Cena, heart for DX, and haha emoji for Scott Hall. But so it very quickly just evolved into a taunt appreciation thread. So let's see what we got here. So Joe Grimont nominated the Matt Hardy, broken Matt Hardy, the delete thing, which it's grown on me. I really didn't like it at first because it sort of looked like the Nazi salute a little bit. And I'm like, as far as like wrestling things, like, you know, you want to be able to like show them in public or like show them to friends. I feel like that one was controversial. But then somebody pointed out that it's like, oh, like the way that his hand is turned, like it's not really the same. I don't know. But yeah, that one grew on me. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, Abs, our boy Abs, put in Kane. He nominated Kane for the fire. So, which again, iconic. I'm not so sure it's a taunt, but although the clip that he posted, the GIF that he posted is like Kane is clearly like in the guy's face before, and then he kind of backs off and does it. So I guess in that context, it's kind of like a taunt. See what else we got. Terry Duffy Jr. dropped a GIF of Macho Man, Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah.
That was
Definitely.
good. That was very solid, actually.
It's the COVID in my throat. It's allowing me to do that. And then Philly Trollman dropped the Undertaker throat thing with the eyes. So some good picks there. Some good picks. All right. So now that we've kind of had our fun answering some questions, we're going to go into our reaction bit of the week. All right, folks, we got our reaction bit. I'm going to put us back on the gallery view. We got our reaction bit for this week. So, Clip, because you are our resident barber at Invictus Pro Wrestling, I spent the afternoon scouring the interwebs for some of the wackest haircuts I could find. And I would like your professional opinion on them.
Let's do it.
All right, wait, I got to, oh, it's just, share my, my screen right quick here.
This is right.
So play from start. All right. Y'all can see that, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay.
What the hell is that?
All right. Let's let the barber speak first.
Looks like the crossbreed of Slim Shady and Bobby Hill from King of the Hill.
I feel like this guy just came into the barber shop and said, "Give me what I deserve,"
Yeah.
and then just let them do whatever.
I'm pretty sure I saw this guy in the Gathering of the Juggalos documentary.
You know, now that you say it, pretty spot on.
Big ICU fan, ICP fan.
Yeah, I mean, but however, I do appreciate the color coordination with the bang braids and the shirt.
Do you think he has to do that every day?
Oh,
I hope not.
he doesn't strike me as having that kind of discipline.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything about this just screamed like the absolute worst of like the 90s, early 2000s. You got the chain.
Oh,
You got the yeah.
here's a question, because this is clearly a yearbook photo if I've ever seen one. What was this guy voted for senior year? Most what?
Class clown.
Most likely to succeed.
Most likely to become a SoundCloud rapper.
You know what? He's on Power Hour now, so he's laughing his way to the bank.
Clearly to the top, yeah.
Laughing his way to clout.
Most likely to watch the Superhuman video.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Listen, I'm not knocking it. I love Superhuman. My wife despises that one. She despises that
You
man.
heard Ryan.
I like him.
You heard Ryan that good friend Paulie got somebody hit him up on Instagram and said, "Yo, what are you coming to Invictus Pro Wrestling?"
Oh, did he respond?
He did. He hit us with the eye.
Oh, I
thing.
thought it was I thought it was the
Or the
scratching
head-
chin emoji.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it to Bronco. I was like, yo, we should try to get Superhuman as the guest spot on the show.
100%.
He seems like a cool dude.
Listen, I mean, he can do a hell of a stunner, so we just
Hey, man.
just gotta find someone for him to do it to.
He's got bigger balls than I. Some of that shit I can never do.
We're getting off track here. So
Sorry.
Let's go on to our next whack haircut.
Oh my god.
This is a lot. There's a lot to unpack here.
Don't know where to start.
I see a bunch of the letter S over and over again.
His hair is going in multiple directions here.
You got some Method Man action going on with the goatee, but that's about
Oh my
it.
God.
I'll say Meth Man.
He's
Maybe.
mean mugging it.
Up with his eyebrows.
I was gonna say, yeah, you got to appreciate the eyebrows are like perfectly. Are those penciled on?
Those are penciled on fucking eyebrows.
Or
Yeah.
tattooed on.
First.
And I also like how even though it's just like his bust, like you could still tell that he's clearly in a courtroom. Like
Yeah. I
Also,
that's
like-
one of the first things I noticed.
which I feel
Also,
like
like,
answers a lot of our questions, but also creates new questions.
Also, like I hate to say this, but clearly since he's like faded up his beard, he somehow does care about his appearance,
Yeah.
despite all of this in this image. Clearly has cleaned up some elements.
I feel like this is what happens when you go to a white barber and say, "Give me waves." You know, you get
I got you, G.
say no more, fam. But yeah, and then also, so I found another picture of this guy that I was gonna put in, but he's got like a random like rat tail too, coming down the back, and you see a little bit of it here. Like, can y'all see my?
Oh
mouth?
my God.
Oh, okay, yeah.
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 So
The
yeah.
thinnest rat tail I've ever seen.
there's other pictures, yeah, but you could barely see it because it kind of blends into the like crease on his shirt. But yeah, and some of the other pictures, of this dude. Like you see it coming around. He's got like the Padawan braid from Star Wars. It's pretty bad. Yeah. However, he's got some icy drip there with those earrings, though.
I thought those were cotton balls at first.
Maybe that too. All right.
You never know.
Oh,
See our next one here. Now,
I feel like I've seen this one before.
he's got that cane action.
I feel like
going.
I've gotten this haircut before.
Because of the hair in the back, it just makes it kind of look photoshopped. Like
Yeah,
the front of his head is kind of too small for the back of his head.
seeing the same.
what I was going to say is from a purely geometric standpoint, this is actually pretty impressive because look at how straight that line is.
Oh yeah.
And then it just sort of, yeah, it's like a perfect, what's
Was this pulled from a?
Fibonacci spiral there.
I'm sure that's what he said in the courtroom when he was being sued by the person who he did this to. All right. They're like, look at that, look at that line work. That's perfectly straight.
Once
I also got to say
Damn,
though, the lack of chin, I think, really makes it here, really pulls the look together.
It almost feels like he told the person before taking this photo, please tuck your chin as far into your chest as humanly possible before we begin taking this photo.
Yeah, he's a wrestler, clearly.
Gosh, gotta guard that shit.
But also I'm wondering if
And look at this, haircuts for men
Wow.
with a Z.
So, I got a quick PSA. If your hairline starts to look like a crescent moon, just go bald, dude. Just go bald.
Yep.
No, I'm not gonna lie, I'm very big on hairline jokes, and the best hairline joke I've heard is your hairline looks like the McDonald's symbol, and that was like vile. Or like, I'm not gonna lie, Enzo, when he said to Devon on Raw, "Fall back like your hairline," I fucking cried. Like I was weak. So I'm not gonna lie. There's some very funny hairline jokes out there, but in all seriousness, as Clipper said, yes, please go bald. Bald is a good look. People can pull it off.
Yeah.
I was going to say, though, I'm wondering if this is photoshopped because look at and it's not anything that has to do with the hair, but look at this dude's nose. Look at how like perfectly pointed his nose is. I feel like this is like a composite image.
Yeah.
You know?
I
Like-
don't feel like if someone was to change something, they would be like, hey, I'm going to mess up my entire head, but like I want my nose to look good. You know what I mean?
I'm saying like maybe it was photoshopped to look bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
no,
kinda
for sure,
Maybe
for sure.
let's give this guy the benefit of the doubt. I don't know.
I
It
got
kind of looks like he's going for the penguin on like the front of his face, like from like any Batman movie. That's
Yeah.
kind of what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Well, like the front of his face looks too old for the back of his head.
Well, to be
If
fair,
that makes
also-
any sense.
I
I don't
just-
know.
I can't tell how old this guy is.
I tried to find a front view of the same dude. I couldn't find it. We just got.
He also looks like he might have to go around the neighborhood ringing bells to let you know he's living close by.
I was just about to say, I feel like I see him on meganslaw.com. So you literally just took the joke right out of my brain, my friend.
Let's see what else we got here. Oh,
Oh, fuck.
Oh boy, we got Mater from Cars.
I'm sorry I'm cursing so much, but these haircuts are vicious.
Is that a mullet, a crew cut, or a ponytail?
Yes.
It's a
All
fillet.
three.
It's a mullet that needs to be filled.
so what I'm saying here though, my biggest problem with this is like I don't know what's going on here, but like that's a pretty tight fade right there. Like I don't know what,
Again, this
like,
shows people care about their appearance, and they're still choosing to look like this.
Just go bald. It's
Like,
over.
damn.
It's over.
I'm also looked at like the perched lips on the side. I wonder what sour, like, gummy he has in his mouth or something that's causing that sort of issue. Jesus Christ, man.
it's called
But like you said, like look at the fade, look at the clean, you know what I mean, beard line. Like the guy clearly pays attention to his appearance. But he was like, you know what? Please just leave a little hole right in my head just for some skin. I want to show a little skin.
I'm wondering like if maybe this did just start off as a flat top mullet and then he got bonked somehow and like this is the little cartoon lump that comes up, you know? Like, try to imagine what this would look like if it was all buzzed off, you know? Like the shape of the head isn't quite.
Yeah,
that
he has
good.
a very weird shaped head. If you really think
Yeah.
about it, with that cut off, that would look like an egghead.
Yeah, but the flow is very nice here.
Oh yeah,
I feel like
10 out of 10.
yeah. So guy's got very nice hair. I think it's just sort of a shame that you know, it had to end like this. He's rocking that like it almost feels like a reverse monk or like a friar. You got the
I
little.
see it.
Except
It almost looks like a
his is going
poached
up.
egg.
Yeah. Like
All
his
he
is
needs
going
is a
up.
hat, and he'll be golden.
Yeah. He's walrusing hard though with that mustache. Like my eye keeps getting drawn back to this.
It reminds me of Dennis from last week when he was rocking that very intense mustache.
For me right now with my
That's the thing. I'm sorry to harp on this, but Dennis has like 18 different looks. Whenever I see him, he has a different hair or beard ensemble or something. So like this could very much so be Dennis, and we wouldn't even know.
that's
It's funny that you say that, Nick, because I told Dennis last week, every time I see him, I just don't even recognize him. But first time I saw him, he had the platinum blonde hair. The second time, I think he had like a full blown beard. I don't think he had the beard the first time, but that dude's he's a chameleon.
Yeah, we like to have a running joke at Team 3D that he's on the run from the cops, so he has to change his look up so that never get
that
caught.
fits in.
Oh,
That's
man.
very in line with the Danger Hawk thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think I got one more here. Yep.
Oh,
How do you even get this?
I was just
that's got to be a genetic like defect or something. Like
Yeah.
no. Oh my god.
I was just this looks like a
Why make it grow that long?
this looks
it
like
kind of like a mold that hair grew out of
Yeah.
that you just let it grow out of your entire life.
If there was ever a time to get LASIK on any
Ugh.
area of your body, and you had this right here and nothing else, get this done. Like you don't need a ponytail growing out the front.
bro,
You
he
know,
looks
you
like
don't need someone pulling on it and then.
he looks like Mewtwo. Like how Mewtwo
Or like a
got that like
Pikmin.
tube. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Majin Buu. He's got that like tube connecting his head. Like it looks like a conjoined twin that just sort of like shriveled up and
Oh God. Whew.
and that's all that's left. Oh man. But then it begs the question, like, if that's the natural hairline there, like what happened here then?
But what if it's just that spot that's growing? Because notice how, like, listen, he did not just get like all of the hair. Like, what is he gonna look like? Cousin It in Adam's Family if he had the whole thing going down? You know what I mean? Like, he didn't just get this. Be like, just leave this. It's probably just growing out of there.
Well, I was
So
gonna say, like,
that makes me raise the question:
like-
how the hell is that possible?
I was gonna say like it's in a braid in this picture, but what happens when he lets that out?
Oof.
Like does he just
Probably
have
has to like
Just probably to the side or something to cover the
that
rest
is
of his
an
head.
anime look
Very-
I've ever seen.
very emo, very emo.
Like just like that's an anime villain. It's just like over one eye, and you're just like, oh,
It's just a phase, guys.
finally arrived. Well then, and then another understated part of this look is whatever's going on.
The nice
What?
little
The
part.
3-foot walking trail that was put on his head.
What I was gonna say is, isn't the rule of thumb like one finger width, or like even less than that? Probably.
It was
right?
probably like Shaq's finger or something that was in place of that.
I don't know.
It's like he was like, okay, I want to go bald. No, stop.
Jeez.
It's even the angle of his head. I can't really tell if his hair was supposed to start there. It's like I don't know if the angle is kind of messing with me a little bit, but because it almost looks like it's like a few inches above his eyebrow. I don't know if he's kind of going like this. It almost looks like a makeup effect to me, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
I don't know what film this would be for,
But
other than like Botched or something like that.
or maybe the what's it called? Coneheads.
Oh my god.
Oh my God, I love that movie from back in the day.
Yeah. Well, you got like we got 4, 5, and 6 head going on here.
Also, like, this person is clearly from another galaxy with this given haircut. Like, there's no way this is human at this point if someone's just growing a full-on tail out of their front.
But
He needs to be, like, explored by NASA.
Well, maybe that tail covers up that part over there. Like if he pushes it back, so you don't really see the part.
Oh yeah, like it fits.
It's right
I don't
there.
even want to see that tail go back.
Yeah, and that, but the other thing I'm curious about is, so if you look in the background, if you look in the background here, like they're still at work in the back. So like, what's going on? If this is the front.
They're probably like, you know what? I can take even more off. Don't even worry about it.
You know? Oh man,
Like,
there's a lot to unpack. All right, that's all I got for our.
Here's my question. How much do you think that haircut cost?
Too much. Whatever he paid, it was too much.
Honestly, it depends on if this was like part of the deal.
Cliff,
Like,
what
braid
do you
it.
think with your expert analysis? How much would you charge someone to do something like this?
You better give me a tip for whatever time I took the face.
That was gonna be my next question. Do you think he tipped the barber? That was my next question.
If he did it, I would never let him come back.
And don't at me. Yeah, don't
Yeah.
at him. Don't tag him on Instagram. Good Lord. All right, so that's all I got for our reaction bit for today.
Ooh.
Straight out of the barber's chair. All right, now that we have made it through that abomination, let's get into our news roundup. So getting right into this week's news roundup. A lot of news to cover. There were a lot of shows, a lot of high-profile events that took place this past week. I guess all the major promotions are just trying to get their shit in before the end of the year. So we'll start going back to, we didn't get a chance to talk about War Games during the last episode because it was still ongoing as we were recording. But what were our thoughts on War Games? Did it deliver? What were our favorite matches, moments, things like that?
So, full transparency, I really caught a lot of the highlights. I did catch the female War Games match, and honestly, the spot with the trash can was ridiculous. And honestly, the amount of injuries afterwards catches up to that. There's never an easy task involving wrestling, especially when you put gimmicks and cages and X, Y, and Z.
100%.
From what I saw, though, honestly, especially, I mean, listen, like there was some, like, people were saying that the women's match was a bit too gimmicky. It was too like, I didn't feel that way. I thought it was an awesome, different look at, what women can do when given some, toys and some weapons to mess around with. And I thought it was an awesome match.
I thought that the lineup between the two teams was stacked as well.
Yeah.
You have Candice and Shotzi captaining the two teams, who are, like, no hyperbole, probably my favorite female talents right now. But yeah, I mean, I think in general it's kind of difficult to compare War Games to other takeovers just because of the stipulation. And it is, Nick, to your point, like, gimmicky. But I thought it was really good. Ciampa versus Thatcher was every bit as, technically amazing as I thought it would be. And I also, the men's War Games match was fucking awesome. And I have to especially put over McAfee. Pat McAfee. Is that how you say it? Or is it McAfee?
I wouldn't know, but I assume.
Yeah. Because he went on, he did his show a few days later with the neck brace on, like he sold the injury, and everyone was like retweeting that, going like, yeah, this fella understands the business. He could teach these young kids like
It's a very old school move. You know what I mean? It gets appreciated by the wrestling community because that's not something that happens nowadays where you see someone on Monday getting a table shot and then on Thursday walking the red carpet at the Nickelodeon Kids Choice Awards or something.
But I was going to say, like, he definitely, McAfee, like, I think has had one of the most seamless, like, transitions as, like, a non-wrestler coming in as a wrestler. Like, you know, he reminded me a bit of, like, Stephen Amell, you know, when he came in.
To be honest, he chose the right time. In my opinion, if this were to happen in front of a live crowd, I feel like there would have been a lot more maybe holes in this game. Maybe the fact that he's able to do this with a pre-taped sort of, you know, he's able to, you know, stumble a little bit and be able to correct it, if that makes sense. If this were in front of a live crowd, I don't know how seamless it would seem.
100%. So moving now from NXT over to the world of Impact Wrestling. So we're going off of last week. Kenny Omega, the new AEW World Champion, appeared on Impact in a backstage segment with Don Callis. Broke viewership records on both Twitch and television. In that segment, Kenny Omega referred to himself as a collector, belt collector, which a lot of fans anticipated or interpreted rather as a bit of foreshadowing, perhaps implying that he will be challenging Rich Swann for the Impact World title, and that was further alluded to during a segment in the parking lot when Swann had no place to park because it was reserved for the real world champion. And I think it's a really interesting approach that Impact is taking with this partnership, invasion, whatever you want to call it. They're clearly positioning themselves they're clearly positioning AEW as the superior company, and making themselves out to be the underdog, which I think it's interesting, but it's probably advantageous if you think about it. I wanted to know what were our thoughts on that.
I'll let anyone else chime in before I put in my 2 cents because I have a little bit to say about this.
Go on, Nick.
Oh, cool. I mean, it makes sense why they're putting AEW as the A side to this. They know that they are listen, if this was TNA prior to the Hogan Bischoff era when they were, hitting million, you know what I mean, roughly in a week, when they were having the most awesome X division of all time, when they were having classics week in and week out, and it was almost like a cult following. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? I think it was a little bit of a slap in the face at that point if this were AEW 2000 so-and-so, like 8-9, like, yeah, like that may be a little bit of slap in the face, like, hey, like, know your worth. But right now, after the Carter era and after everything that's gone on, yes, Impact has built themselves back up to a positive light, but they're very aware of this. I think the one thing that's going for Impact is that they know where they stand in the wrestling business currently. They know the audience that they draw. They know the resources that they have, and they know the product that they're putting on. They're not trying to be, they're not trying to polish a turd sandwich. They're trying to just be the crap that they are, but the best version of it that they can. They know that they're only getting 150,000 people maybe in a week. They know that their show is on Twitch, but they're like, you know what? We're going to put out the best product that we can. And we're not going to try and have a big ego going into this. They're letting AEW kind of do that, like, superiority role, which is only helping them as looking as the underdog, in my opinion, at least.
No, I definitely agree with that. And I mean, I think in wrestling, as in, pretty much anything else, the fans love an underdog. And especially because I think that difference in the power dynamic, really just adds layers to the storyline. I mean, they did that also great bit during that episode of Impact with Tommy Dreamer backstage, talking about he was with Scott D'Amore and kind of like expressing concern about, Don Callis and, where his loyalties lie and stuff like that. So I thought I'm very intrigued about where the storyline's going. So from there, so that was last week's episode of Impact. Their Final Resolution pay-per-view, the last pay-per-view of the year, took place on Saturday. in the main event of that show, Rich Swann retained his Impact World title over Chris Bay in an excellent match. Fun bit of trivia, or it's equal parts fun and depressing, is that is the first time that two black wrestlers main evented a pay-per-view for the company's title since SummerSlam 2001, which was Booker T versus The Rock. So great for them. Little bit, depressing that it took that long, but two tremendous talents. Chris Bay especially has had what a phenomenal year 2021 has been for him, between capturing the, getting signed to Impact and then capturing the X Division title. He's 100% going to be one to look out for, I think.
He's got everything. He's got the look. He's got the ring ability. He's got the mic skills, in my opinion, at least currently. He's very entertaining. Now that he's inserted himself even ever so slightly in the world title picture, the sky's the limit for him.
No, 100%. So also at that same show, the Omega storyline was advanced. He appeared unannounced, which was interesting, because one would think that if Omega was going to appear on that show, even in a backstage segment, they would want to announce it ahead of time to drum up the buy rate, but they didn't. He appeared again backstage, and we'll get to why in a minute. But he was reunited with Carl Anderson, of course, his old comrade from the Bullet Club, which then led to last night, on Impact. They announced that for their next pay-per-view, which is Hard to Kill, in January, it's going to be a 6-man tag match with the reunited Bullet Club, although they're not using that name, of Kenny Omega and Gallows and Anderson versus Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns, which I'm very excited to see that match.
It's so funny that you say that. Last night when I was watching Impact, I was like halfway through the show, and I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I have stuff to do. Maybe, I won't tune in. Meanwhile, I wake up in the morning and I find out, all these other details also came into light revolving that, between the run-in and everything like that. And it was a lot. So I was like, man, I chose quite a night to not watch.
Yeah. No, I'm super excited for that. I believe that incarnation of the Bullet Club with AJ Styles as the leader, I thought that was probably my favorite incarnation of the Bullet Club. So I'm excited to see them reunited. And I just think that the fact that it's taking place on an Impact stage can only help them. Can only help Impact, But yeah, color me excited. That's going to be awesome. So the reason why that segment took place backstage and why Kenny Omega was not there is because Kenny Omega was in Mexico that night at Triple Mania 27, which is the biggest event of the AAA Lucha Libre promotion. Kenny Omega is currently their champion, which I feel like doesn't get talked about a lot, but he has held that AAA Mega Championship for over a year now. He won it last fall, and he defended it successfully over Laredo Kid on that show, which I kind of hope means that we're going to see him carrying around and displaying that title more prominently, especially if we're going with the whole belt collector thing. I think it only makes sense that, and because AEW and Impact have that partnership with AAA. So I hope that means that he'll be, dual wielding the belts, because I think Kenny, with Kenny 2 belts or Kenny 3 belts just looks badass. Another thing that's pretty interesting that happened on that Triple Mania show, which is available to watch for free on the Lucha Libre online page on Facebook. The first match of, did you guys hear anything about this? That Marvel is teaming with AAA to create a Lucha Libre
Pop Funko
brand. So it started out with Funko Pops and apparel.
Yeah,
but
I saw that.
At Triple Mania, they had the first actual match featuring these Marvel-inspired Lucha Libre characters. So this was the heel team of Terror Purpura, which is a Thanos-inspired character, which was portrayed by Brian Cage in a mask, in a Thanos mask. And I'm going to butcher this because my Spanish isn't great, but Veneno Ide, which was Black Taurus from AAA, in a Venom inspired Lucha Libre mask. They defeated the face team, or I guess since it's Lucha Libre, it's Technico team of Arachno, which was portrayed, who was portrayed by Leo Rush, in a Spider-Man mask, and his tag team partner, which was Leyenda Americana, or Captain America inspired, and that was Daga, formerly of Impact, who now wrestles for AAA full time. So the match was good, and I'm excited. As a promoter, I just get excited for anything that can just bridge that gap and draw the attention. Marvel is without a doubt the hottest brand going right now, just in general. They have the top grossing movie franchise of all time. So anything that can bridge that gap and bring in casual fans excites me a lot. And especially because they have picked some really capable wrestlers to portray those characters. I'm super excited to see where that goes. So anyway, that answers the question of why Kenny Omega was not in person at Final Resolution. And then another piece of news that came out this past week, which a little bit more controversial. So it was reported by Dave Meltzer, I believe, that Vince McMahon was apparently displeased with a lot of the larger wrestlers on the roster. I'm sure you guys read about this, and ordered several of them to return to the Performance Center for additional training. So some of those names included Otis. I know him as Babatunde, but I don't know what he's going by now. Big Polish dude from NXT. Dio Madden, of course, better known as Mace from Retribution. And the one that probably stirred up the most controversy, which was Keith Lee. So a lot of fans took to Twitter to express their disappointment with that decision, feeling that Keith Lee shouldn't be grouped in with the rest of those guys. But I wanted to know what our thoughts were on that.
I mean, again, I want to give you all your platform. I don't want to take over the stage too much.
Didn't McMahon also ask all the writers to write down people they felt were underutilized to try to give them more airtime also?
He did, yeah.
Yeah. Who's to say? I don't know what goes on in McMahon's head anymore. Nick?
I mean, okay. I understand the idea of going back to the Performance Center. What does that really mean? That's my question. What are they doing back at the Performance Center? Because if you look at me and say Keith Lee can't wrestle, I'm going to say you're on something. So it makes me wonder what gap they're trying to fill. I don't know if this is necessarily a look thing. I don't know if this is a promos thing. I don't know if this is character development in general. The point is, I feel like going back to the Performance Center is not, it depends on what it's for. They could be going back there to just, polish things off. I mean, I feel like dirt sheets sometimes try to look for the worst in things. We don't know how many seasoned vets maybe do this from time to time just to, touch up. I mean, we know guys when they're coming back from injury, they go back to the Performance Center to make sure they're okay. This could be something similar, but that's obviously me being optimistic. Me being on the pessimistic side, Vince McMahon only likes muscled up dudes, and he doesn't like any big dad bod dudes. So with that being said, he needs to open up his horizons. So it really depends. If it's there just for in general development because he sees stars in them, that's one thing. If he's going there solely for a look sense, that's an old school mentality that needs to get gone very fast because times are changing and athletes are evolving to, no matter what size they are, they're capable of doing incredible things.
No, absolutely.
Oh,
Go on,
sorry.
Alex.
No,
No, no, I was gonna say, what Nick said is right. It's just, I think Vince has always been that guy who's just always been, oh, a wrestler should be 6'5", look like this, look like that, and it's just, I agree. He does need to evolve his way of thinking because, I mean, even some of the people on the Invictus rosters, maybe not the best types of bodies, but they are just as entertaining as anyone else out there. So, I mean, just how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, I always felt that from a purely aesthetic standpoint with wrestling is, like variety is the spice of life. If you have everyone on your roster looks like some, chiseled Adonis, then it's going to get pretty boring pretty quickly. It's going to get pretty repetitive.
Sometimes it's more entertaining to see someone who doesn't look like they're athletic be
because
like doing athletic things.
It gives you that perception of what, like, wow, I can do that too if I wanted to,
Sorry to cut you off, Alex.
No.
Well, I think also if you're a fan of indie wrestling, you sort of you're used to seeing it. I think you're used to seeing a wider range of physiques. So you sort of get desensitized to it. You have to think that, WWE is catering to the more casual fans who kind of have this idea of what a wrestler is supposed to look like in their head. But I mean, going away from that, I felt very conflicted when this news came out because anyone that knows me knows I'm a huge Keith Lee stan. And I also feel like I have like a personal connection to Keith Lee because I remember talking to him at Knights of Columbus Hall where there were like 100 people there and nobody came to his merch table. And seeing him on this huge stage, he's really one of the first wrestlers that I have, sort of seen make that transition from, wrestling at these small indie shows to wrestling, at on the biggest stage of them all. So I really want to see him succeed. All signs pointed to the fact that he was, earmarked for a huge push between the fact that, that the Royal Rumble, which took place this year and feels like it was a lifetime ago. But, remember the rub that he got from Brock when he entered the Rumble. And then, just between the way that he's been pushed since, and there were early rumors that he was supposed to be involved in the main event of Mania next year. How accurate that is, I don't know. But so on the one hand, it could be that because he has that, Vince views him that highly, like he wants him to be performing to the best of his possible ability. So yeah, I think extra time at the Performance Center can only help with that. It could also be that, maybe he wants, maybe Vince McMahon wants, Keith to kind of show these other guys how it's done in terms of a big guy and, how they move, something like that. How to work that big man style, So what I think is, we don't know enough about it to sort of jump to any conclusions yet. Let's see over the next, next few months how it plays out. And, how these guys are utilized upon their return from this extra training. That's all I got in terms of news for this week. I guess there was some stuff from Japan too, but we're already way over time. So for those of us watching at home who have made it all the way through, we got a little treat for you. But I guess they could have just fast forwarded to the end as well. We got a little treat for you guys. Clipper, since you're here with us, and since you have already, as of yesterday, been announced for our social media tournament,
Yes, sir.
social media championship tournament, I should say, we are now exclusively for you Power Hour viewers at home, going to reveal Clipper Jones's first round matchup in that tournament, and the first match to be confirmed in our 8-man bracket. And Nick, I'm hoping that by the time I edit this, you'll have a nice little graphic that we can insert in at this point.
You got it.
Drum roll, please. Clipper Jones will be facing in the first round of the Invictus Pro Wrestling Social Media Championship Tournament none other than baby girl Nick Stapp.
Oh man.
Clipper Jones, do you have any words for your opponent?
You know, Nick Stapp, I've seen a lot about you. I actually heard about you from a good buddy of mine that used to go to Team 3D, who goes by Kirby J. Wackerman. And Kirby J. Wackerman told me all I need to know how to stop Nick Stapp in his tracks. So in the Fight for Invictus social media tournament, just like this shirt back here, there's gonna be one phrase that you're gonna remember when I drop you for 1, 2, 3 and advance to round 2 of the tournament. Clips up, foes down.
You heard it here first, folks. Some strong fighting words there from Clipper Jones. That's all the time we got here for tonight. Clip, before we go, do you want to plug any social media?
Yeah, just follow my Instagram, Clipper Jones 365. You can add me on Facebook as Clipper Jones. Also on Twitter as Clipper Jones. Yeah, I'm really easy to find on social media. Also follow my boy Gio Galvano. He's also really easy to find. Not D Morgan. Follow him as well.
His,
God, what a
his
generous
name,
man.
his name is not D Morgan, not followed. And that Clips Up Foes Down shirt that you got there in the back, is that on sale anywhere?
It's limited stock. I have sold 20 shirts already. I will be getting more in about 3 weeks. I'm gonna put a post out on all my pages when I have more available for you guys to buy.
Awesome. So make sure you follow Clipper Jones on all social media so you can get the update when that drops. All right, gentlemen, it has been a very nice evening. I'm going to go hunker down and wait out this snowstorm. Until next time, for Nick Goutman, Ryan Gross, and the barber, Clipper Jones, this has been Invictus Power Hour Episode 2. We will see you next time.